Hello everyone and welcome to episode 79 of my Guild Wars 2 Let's Play series, where today we are beginning our adventures in chapter 7 of the Guild Wars 2 personal story, where we are going to begin forging the Pact. And I wanted to do chapter 7 a little bit differently than how I've been doing past chapters, where I want to take it a little bit more slowly and I want to do some bonus exploration through some various achievements as we basically slowly complete some of the different story missions in this chapter, and I'll probably do the same thing with chapter 8 potentially. We'll see when we get there. But today I want to begin forging the Pact, which is a mission that every single player does at the start of chapter 7, and it's basically kind of like the epilogue after we have the battle for Claw Island, which we did at the end of chapter 6, or I guess Retribution to be more specific, and then we will be moving forward now that we have formed the Pact, which is what we are doing in this mission. So let's go ahead and head over towards Lion's Arch here, where we can go ahead and begin our mission. Whereas we have entered the city, specifically Lion's Arch, we have gotten a letter from Traherne where he says, "My friend, it's time to begin the Pact's unified effort against Zaitan. Our future headquarters is already under construction, but I need your input on another important matter. I've called in representatives from all three orders to present my initial proposals on the Pact's command structure, logistics, combat strategies, and other vital issues. I need you there. Please join me in Concordia as soon as you can. Traherne." So let's head down to Concordia, which is located here in Timberline Falls, where we have the Concordia waypoint, and we can go ahead and begin the mission proper. We have this very cool loading screen art here, which just looks fascinating. And I say this all the time, but I love the loading screen art of Guild Wars 2. But here we have Concordia, where we got these cool banners and this very cool wooden bridge here that we can run across to see all these different members of the orders, where we got some Priory friends here, and also a Vigil Crusader hanging out, as well as some Order of Whisper agents.
Siren was unique. She will be missed.
Siren will be missed. Where I just got another letter from Kaith. "Darkness abounds. Valiant, the world is cold and quiet. The chill in my heart feels as though I stand at the heart of winter, even if I know it is not so. I feel truly alone, save for you. I hear that you have done well and struck a mighty blow against Zaitan. I also hear that, along with the firstborn Traherne, you have at last begun the true battle, the invasion of war. Rumors of my companions abound. Rithok and Logan travel north towards the Citadel of Flame. Zosha chases after Snap's legacy, never realizing that it is more than golems and crystals. She is in danger. I spoke to Air at length and managed to convince her that we must go to aid our old friend, but my purpose no longer seems as clear. Not anymore. Why save the world when everything in it is falling apart? I hear of your victories and I am reminded, perhaps, there is still a reason for hope. We will meet again soon." From Kaith. Where, of course, we have the firstborn Traherne right over here, who we can chat with, the new leader of the Pact, or the first leader of the Pact, where he says, "I'm glad to see you. I need to convince the Orders of Zateria that the path I've chosen is the right one. Your support can make the difference." "What do you need, Traherne?" "I've assembled all of the key personnel and they're standing by. I'd like you to join us for the discussion. You have an important role to play in the Pact." "I'm ready. Let's go." As Traherne runs back into the fortress here, where there is currently a bug with Steam accounts, which is why this is showing in the top left corner. We have Traherne with the Winnet, Warmaster Effort, and Dorn Valakraz, as well, that's not how you pronounce his last name, as well as Occam and Bygarth there, as well as another blacksmith nearby.
Thank you all for coming. We're here because Claw Island proved the value of cooperation. Our Pact has already achieved remarkable results. As the Pact's leader, I am adopting the rank of Marshal. I'd also like to present my second in command, one of the heroes of Claw Island, who will bear the rank of Commander. To defeat Zaitan and cleanse Ore, the Pact needs to go on the offensive. For that, we need a headquarters. I suggest the abandoned fortress on Terzetto Bay.
I know the place. Formidable, easily defensible, and right on Zaitan's doorstep. A solid decision, Marshal Traherne. The Vigil is with you.
It is a wise choice. The Priory will also follow you to the Pact's new headquarters and on into Ore.
No argument here, Marshal. It's a smart call. Count the Order of Whispers in as well.
Excellent. I'll begin preparing our new headquarters at the Terzetto site, which I have codenamed Fort Trinity. I look forward to seeing you all there. A moment, please, Commander. I'd like to speak with you.
We are now the commander, and we are building our base of operations known as Fort Trinity on Terzetto Bay, on the coast of the Steamspur Mountains looking into Ore. But Traherne wants to say that he has the Order's pledge, but I don't believe I have their confidence. Please talk to Dorn, Ifut, and Winnet. Help me define their concerns about me and the Pact so I can assuage them. I'll get started right away. Don't know if I pronounced that word right either. Winnet right over here. I see the point and value of building a fort, but I worry about our long-term prospects. Traherne has the knowledge we need, but will these soldiers and spies listen to him? It'll take charisma and a forceful personality to keep this pack together. Our Vigil friend here, putting a fort this close to Ore is smart, and it creates opportunity. I just hope Traherne can make the most of it. Simply put, one victory doesn't win a war. Before I commit soldiers to serve under Traherne, I want to know he's capable of leading under fire. A fort, makes some sense, I suppose, though I'd rather we handle this campaign less, obviously. Sounds like you have some concerns. I like to hear them. Between you and me, alliances, especially this one, are fragile creatures. It was so difficult to assemble, I fear it may be impossible to preserve. I see. Thank you for your honesty. Where let's report the concerns of the different leaders of the orders to Traherne, where he says, as I feared, I cannot blame them for being wary of an untested general. In time, Zaitan will give me the chance to prove myself. I simply hope they don't lose faith in me before then. Where we could say, surely they see your knowledge of war makes you indispensable. And he says, yes, but indispensable does not necessarily mean inspiring. I need to show them that I will not wither under fire, that I have what it takes to win this war. What's our next move? Now we speak to the smiths. I've gathered some of the finest armorers and weaponsmiths in Tyria. They can give the pack soldiers the edge they need in Ore. Bygarth of the Norn, Occam of the Savari, both masters of the craft. I've also brought in the Tengu Izu Steel Shrike. I have something special in mind for him.
Let's hope the smiths rise to my challenge out of innate nobility, or at least pride. Thank you for coming. I'm Marshal Traherne, and I've invited each of you here because you are the finest smiths and crafters in all of Tyria. I'm forging a pact to deal with the Elder Dragons. The 3 major orders of Tyria have agreed to join, but we also need you and your skills.
It would be an honor to stand with you, Firstborn.
Your envoy already approached me with a similar offer, Marshal. I've decided to accept. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
Ha! There's only one finest smith in Tyria, and you're looking at him. I stand ready to prove it.
Excellent. I have a list of potential projects. My quartermasters will make sure you have the tools and raw materials you need. Please begin at once.
Help! Somebody, help me! The team studying Rancor ruins was overwhelmed by the undead!
The messenger says, the risen, undead, scores of them, the research team is trapped. Help them. South and Rancor ruins, undead overwhelm the dig site. So many. The team sent me to get help. They found something important. We can't let Zaitan claim it. And I shall meet you there, says Traherne. My experiences in Ore will be an asset, and this is my chance to allay some of the fears and concerns you've discovered. So let's warn a Vigil tactician Art about the attack, who was basically kind of watching everything go down in a way. So we are going to help the research team, and somebody has to stay and defend the fort, because we have a ton of important people in here, which actually, if you take a second to think about that, we have this like small fort here, and we just basically brought in like a lot of the order leadership and like the most important smiths in the world, and Raj is hanging out here right now. But let's go ahead and exit out this way where we can meet Traherne outside Rancor Ruins, which is right over here and is an area that we explored when we were map completing Timberline Falls several episodes ago, including all the areas around here. Where we have this researcher here who I think we'll leave there, and we have Agent Zri, an important agent of the Order of Whispers.
I'm glad to see you. Something is definitely unnatural here. That miasma settled in shortly after we arrived. Fortunately, our allies sent help. Agent Zri from the Order of Whispers and Crusader Afanan from the Vigil.
At your service. Killing Orions is my purpose in life, but in the spirit of our newly forged union, this feels extra noble.
A pleasure to meet you, Commander. Take a good look. Once I get started, you won't see me coming or going.
Noted. Our objective is to locate a missing Priory team. Traherne, this is your mission. How do you want us to handle it?
By playing to our respective strengths. Zuri goes in to conduct stealth reconnaissance, while the rest of us take the main path through the ruins. We'll draw the attention of any Orions, and thin out their numbers as we proceed. Let's all rendezvous at the far end of the site.
So let's search the area for survivors.
I'll report back as soon as I know anything.
We also have Crusader Afanan here, 3 Zavari and 1 Asura, a true power team. But there are a ton of crate in here, and of course these ruins are cool because they are dwarven ruins. Let's try to group everyone up as best as we can. We don't have a lot of grouping opportunities right now as a necromancer compared to like our guardian, for example. Traherne, of course, wielding Caladbog in the back there, an incredibly important weapon for the Zavari, which we have interacted with a lot. And it's fun to play through the personal story as a Zavari, I feel like, and into like the first couple years of post-release content for Guild Wars 2, because playing as a Zavari just improves the story a little bit, because, a bit of a spoiler alert, there's a big focus on Zavari in the first couple years of Guild Wars 2. Where I remember this story mission always being a little buggy, where I think we just need to clear everything out, and then there's like a certain spot we have to stand on in order to progress through here. Just a couple of Risen Thrall attacking us right now. Zuri is off somewhere trying to find the survivors while we just clear the area for her and for the survivors, while we also just need to clear this area in general so that the Prior can continue their research operations here. There's that Thrall dead, and now if Traherne comes up here, we might be able to progress this. Or did we need to like walk into here? Or is there something we had to interact with? I'm trying to remember. We have this dead Risen, we have this Priory Explorer on the ground, this other one over here. We're very unfortunate. We had some burnt tents that are still smoldering, and this campfire that's actually still going. Some destroyed golems here. If we run up this way, we can see that there are some barricades here that we can run past, and some tents right here, as well as an older like dwarven ruin right here that we can see. I guess it's all like the same age pretty much. But we also got like a bone wall up there with a couple of Risen. Alright, let's go ahead and deal with these Risen. Okay, with those 2 Risen dead, maybe if we come back this way. This is what I was talking about with this mission being a little buggy. Let's run into here. We just have to find the right spot to stand, I think. Okay, I think we're supposed to move back here actually, so Traherne can come up this way.
No
there we go.
here. We'll keep looking.
So we just got ambushed by a few Risen. So if you're ever having some bug problems, just go stand by that tree over there in order to progress this mission. I feel like this mission has always been a little buggy out of all like the personal story missions in Guild Wars 2, which a lot of people have like various bugs that they come across every now and then, but largely I feel like the personal story is not super buggy, which is honestly very fortunate, especially now that it's over a decade old.
Those barricades won't hold for long. We have to move.
These barricades will not hold for long. Let's run up this way.
That means we're headed in the right direction.
We have some crew researchers.
Break through and protect our people. Too dangerous.
So let's hold off the undead attackers. I'm just going to fear that group back a little bit, and now as they run back towards us, let's pop down all our AoE abilities. And I'm taking quite a bit of damage, just trying to heal up. Let's go ahead, use our Shroud abilities just to wipe them all out. It's fun to use kind of like death magic in order to fight undead, because it kind of feels like fighting fire with fire. As we can see, it's highly effective. But it's great vibes. Let's heal up again. Got kind of knocked out of our AoE circles there. We're typically in Guild Wars 2 combat, we want to keep enemies as grouped up as possible so that we can like cleave all the enemies down and deal like maximum amount of damage to them as possible. Trouble incoming. Some more Risen Thralls and a Risen Hylic. A very cool thing that we're about to see, I believe, is as we are progressing through Guild Wars 2, we are fighting some more and more powerful undead. Where we did start fighting like a lot of Risen Thralls and Brutes, which are like the main foot soldiers of Zaitan's army. But then we do see some like Hylic early on as well, but as we progress like a little bit further into the game, we start experiencing some more like unique types of undead. And as we are getting closer to Ore, and as we explore Ore for the first time, we're going to see a ton of very special types of undead, some of whom we've seen a sneak peek from as we've been in Ore a little bit. But here we can see 2 Risen Crate, which we have seen quite a few Crate in Guild Wars 2 so far, and Risen Crate specifically, but we haven't fought too many of them. Where now we're going to start fighting like these 2 here, and as we advance into Ore, we're going to see a lot of Risen Crate in the first map of Ore especially. But there's just like a wide variety of unique undead, and I always find like the Risen as a faction very, very cool just because of how many different types of Risen there are, where they feel very nuanced, and it's just very interesting to fight just because of how many different varieties of Risen there are to fight. Traherne laying down on the ground there, which is very unfortunate, but I think as we kill this Risen, we will be able to revive him, which will be nice for us. Let's go ahead and manually revive our 2 friends here, where I think there might be another undead somewhere. It seems like we cleared out the final of the Risen attacking, but there's another wave coming in from way over there. So let's go ahead, double check that everything behind us is fine, that Apprentice is hanging out back there. And let's go ahead and maybe charge down here a little bit where we can see another Risen Crate, as well as a couple more Thralls. I think people just always enjoy fighting undead as well. Especially like around 2012, fighting undead was like a very popular trope in video games. So Guild Wars 2 made it all about that and all about dragons, which was also very popular at the time.
Are we glad to see you? Never seen a flood of Orions like that, and I've been doing this for years.
You're safe now. Stick close to us and we'll get you out of here intact.
What about our second team? They went ahead to secure a recent discovery right before the undead tide came in. They might still be alive.
I can confirm that. There are tracks leading into the caves. It's a defensible position, so the second team could be dug in there.
Then we're not leaving until we're sure, one way or the other. Spread out and protect the researchers. We're going on.
So we have saved this group of researchers, and we can go ahead and save the other group as well, where we need to go through the cave.
I've known some of those scholars since I found the entrance to the caverns. It's
Right over here, where there are some crates blocked here.
Stand back.
And instead of standing back, let's stand right next to her as she lays down some explosives. Now let's run away. A very cool explosion, and we can see a ton of cobwebs in here. And it seems like they barricaded themselves in with the undead, which is kind of unfortunate for them. So let's go ahead and deal with this group. Or of course, in the open world version of this area, we run through here in order to get to a special hero challenge that's kind of in like a second area of this cave. And you have to like go through like a special hole to get into, if you remember our Timberline Falls adventures. Where it's always fun to see like how the open world is used in like story missions throughout Guild Wars 2 as you like explore certain places, and they have like their own unique gameplay elements in open world, and then how they're different in the personal story, where there are just like a ton of Risen here. More Risen grubs appearing. And you can see right over there a Savage Undead Abomination. So kind of a variation of the classic abominations that we see, but also a ton of these Priory Scholars here. And we have Kekt right here, who has a very, very interesting item strapped to his back, and it looks to be a book. Let's go ahead and defend them. This abomination is pretty powerful. It's kind of cool to see like these white rocks here, and then this like chest inside of this like a very old chest here, which is presumably where Kekt got this book from. Very hidden away and very like fortified in these old dwarven ruins, which of course the dwarven race has gone underground as they were all turned to stone at the end of the original Guild Wars, and they have spent the last 250 or so years fighting the Elder Dragon Primordus, and the only one we have interacted with is Ogden Stonehealer of the Dermot Priory, who is the only one who stayed above ground that we know of. This abomination is almost dead, just a few more percent. And there we go, and now we can chat with Kekt. Marie says, "Thank the alchemy you're here, and not a moment too soon. Of course, there's a way out to the south. I theorize it will have fewer Risen compared to the direction you just came from."
Stand by to withdraw. Commander, you lead the way.
Let's lead the way here. We have a massive group of soldiers with us, and of course Traherne leading the group ultimately. But I would say we're doing the most work here. We're the most commendable out of all of us here. Which is how it goes, as we are kind of in a way the main character, but also put to the side so that a different character can be the main character, so we don't take up the responsibility of a ton of paperwork and whatnot, and we can just be out in the field leading troops. Down this way we can see a massive bone wall blocking the exit, where we have some more special crate demosses here. I'm not entirely sure if that's how you pronounce that. We're in today's episode of not being sure if any of my pronunciations of these intricate fantasy words are correct. Where I'm not sure if that's even an intricate word.
This was supposed to be our way out.
The Orions funneled us here. They've showed disturbingly advanced tactics ever since we arrived.
Commander, to me. I need your opinion.
We can see Traherne lighting up there a little bit, the purple on his arms and hair, and of course we have the same because it is now nighttime in Tyria.
Another dead end. Militarily, I'd say we're being funneled into a trap.
I've seen the Orions swarm and I've seen them lurk, but I've never seen them set traps. Are they capable of tactical thinking?
Oh yes. I've seen them do exquisitely horrible things. If the Priory team found the artifact I suspect they found, it all makes sense.
They were looking for a dwarven tome. Why would Zhaitan care so much about an ancient book of lore?
I believe it contains information about the last time the dragons rose. Its very existence proves they can be beaten back. Our enemy wants to keep that information from us.
How does the dragon even know about it? Zhaitan doesn't strike me as much of a reader.
Zhaitan knows everything its minions know. One of its corrupted servants, while alive or after death, must have seen the tome. Commander, to me. I believe I can get us out of this situation, but I'll need you to protect me while I do it. We're trapped, but I can summon the reinforcements we need to fight our way out. My minions will aid in our escape. Buy me some time to prepare.
Commander, to me, says Traherne for the 20th time this story mission, but of course he is an incredibly powerful necromancer and just summoned some friends in order to help us get out of here, where I almost died there, and I think my trait just activated my Shroud ability, where we have uncovered an incredibly rare and powerful Dwarven tome, and we don't know much about this tome specifically. However, it is heavily suggested, and it's like basically believed by the Guild Wars 2 community that this tome that we have uncovered is known as the Tome of the Rubicon, which is an incredibly powerful lore artifact, which we can actually obtain in Guild Wars 2, and it's actually part of a collection where we can get the style guide, and we can get, or maybe it's not actually, but it looks similar to one of these items, where it does share a motto with another tome you can get in the game, and it basically just looks similar to the tome that we can see on Scholar Kexback. But the Tome of the Rubicon is a very, very old text, which would presumably have information about defeating the Elder Dragons, as it was written by the Great Dwarf, who is basically the creator of the entire Dwarven race, where he forged the Dwarven race on top of Anvil Rock in the Shiver Peak Mountains, north of like Frostgorge Sound, or like west of Frostgorge Sound, which we will be exploring soon enough. But it is a very cool tome that basically prophesies that the entire like Guild Wars Eye of the North story, where the dwarves would take up the right of the Great Dwarf and turn to stone and begin fighting the destroyers, the minions of Primordus. And it was lost, but presumably and potentially we have discovered it here, and it will be incredibly important for the German Priory to be able to read through it, though we do not have 100% confirmation that this tome and the Tome of the Rubicon is the same one. But you know, a mysterious tome from, you know, thousands upon thousands of years ago, hidden in a dwarven ruin, you know, it's kind of a simple connection to make, albeit not a confirmed connection. Back out this way. This is the way that we originally came in through the cave, and it's swarming with undead, and we can go ahead and leave the cave proper.
Welcome, somebody. Lured you here, trapped you here, now you die here. The elements bow before me, and I bow before Zaitan. He wills your death. He shall have it.
I was born to undo your master's work. If I must kill you to achieve that, so be it. Die by my hand.
The dragon commands, and we answer. All will serve Zaitan.
Where if you thought a Risen Crate were cool, we have a Risen Lich here, an incredibly powerful spellcaster who has been risen into the ranks of the undead by Zaitan, and he is incredibly powerful and very, very cool looking. Where this Risen in particular is very interesting because he seems to be some sort of like elementalist spellcaster, where we can go ahead and fight against him as he fights against us with the elements, and he's like stunning us a bunch right now, where we can go ahead and just help out Traherne here, as well as all of the other members of the various orders, where it's very cool to see the Pact come together, where the Risen Lich just taunts us a little bit with very quiet voice lines. Where we have Scholar Inkblood here, who is a cool character because he does eventually hang out in your home instance, where the Risen Lich is desperately clinging on to life right now, and we can go ahead and end his life like this.
Well done, Marshal Traherne. That Orient Ugly looked nigh unstoppable, but you did it.
The Pact did it. Our combined efforts made this happen, just as we'll defeat Zaitan together. Hopefully, our chances of doing just that have been improved with the information contained inside the Dwarven Tome.
We can help you there. I'm fluent in Ancient Dwarf. Get us out of here and I'll work on that tome until it's completely translated.
Done. Zuri, please escort the research teams back to Concordia. Commander, you're with me.
So it seems we have been successful, and let's go ahead and chat with Traherne, kneeling right over here, where he says, "Well done, Commander, but this is the first step in a long, perilous journey. From here on, things will get more difficult. I'm ready for whatever Zhaitan has in store for us." Where we have completed this mission of forging the Pact, and we can go ahead and get a brand new chest piece, which let's get this one because we have not unlocked this skin yet. An exotic coat, which we have unlocked our first of 18 different pieces of exotic crafted armor, which we did not craft this, we got this, but let's go ahead and equip this. And we can see, looks different than what we had equipped, and I like it a fair bit more than what we had equipped. Where let's get this pop-up chest here because Lunar New Year is currently going on, but I'm not going to be exploring that just yet. And let's go ahead and leave the story instance, where we now have the story mission Tower Down, which if you remember back to chapter 6 of the Guild Super Snow story, when we were chatting with the Pale Tree in the Grove, where we had 3 different options. Tower Down is related to the option that we picked, which if I come into the story journal here, and if I scroll down to a light in the darkness, I guess it doesn't show us what we picked. But the option that we picked is that we would not want to let innocent people die. So we are going to be interacting with that fear as we progress through the story. But as I mentioned at the start of this episode, I want to take this chapter a little bit slow, and I just want to do some random things at the end of each episode around Guild Wars 2, just to look at like some fun different things. Where for this episode, I want to come into our explorer tree here, and I want to find this achievement, Beaker's Empty Belly, Ease Beaker's Appetite, which is an achievement located in Lornar's Pass, and it's related to a different achievement that we got while we were in Lornar's Pass, right around this area of the world. Let's go ahead and close the map there, and then reopen it here. It wasn't letting me click on the waypoint, where we can come to Foss Lake Waypoint, and we have the jumping puzzle located here of Griffin Nook Run, I believe it's called, where there is a special bonus achievement that we can get here. Where since we have been exploring Dwarven Ruins this episode, I feel like it makes sense to come to this general area, and where, if I remember correctly, we went through this when I came through here the first time. I believe we want to drop, is it down here? And then through here, it's kind of a tight fit. And then through here, we can come through here. I say here like 7 times in 20 seconds, but you understand what I mean. And we have this fun little underwater tunnel that we can swim through with some very, very, very big salmon that we can see right there. Let's go ahead and dive up here, where we can explore this area for the first time on this character, Griffin Rook Run. Where let's run through this way, and for this achievement we basically need to feed one of the griffins here, which I believe we want to take this teleportation stone, which seems like a very powerful artifact that we can interact with to send us to the start of this jumping puzzle here. But let's see if we can scope out where we need to go, where we can jump on top of the roof here and then over to this wall. If I can make the jump successfully, let's give ourselves some swiftness, and we can kind of go the opposite way from where we wanted to go through for the jumping puzzle, where we want to go up there and then just all the way over there to the little chest on the edge of the wall over there. But let's drop down this way, and we have a very special area here with a bunch of air elementals, which just drop down here, and I'm just going to run past all the air elementals, which very similar to the boss fight that we just did. We have a ton of air elementals here, but we can run here where we have Tom Tom and Beaker, a giant, where we might have to kill this air elemental really quickly. We have this chat with Tom Tom, and he says, "Have you ever seen a finer griffin?" No, you haven't. That's because Beaker is the best. He has the sharpest talons and the toughest beak. Beaker looks a little antsy. It's almost his snack time. Why don't you fetch him something to eat? Then you can tell your friends that you fed Tyria's noblest griffin. Or Tom Tom looks very cool. And Beaker here, just looking at us, hungry, where we have a very cool looking camp right here with this meat that we can go ahead and grab. And I like this campsite a lot, actually. It's very cool looking. I don't really remember seeing this, though I have completed this achievement before, where now that we have this meat, let's feed Beaker. And we got the achievement, Beaker's Empty Belly. We have eased Beaker's Appetite and got 10 achievement points for doing so. Where this is just a very fun random achievement here in the Lornar's Pass. Where on top of that, let's go ahead and come into our general tree here, and I want to look at the Slayer achievements, because we have a ton of achievements here, and if you scroll down towards the bottom, you'll see some that we haven't really progressed too much of. Giant Slayer, for example, we have only killed one giant, but we also have Minotaur Slayer here. We also got Jotun Slayer, which we're very close to completing, as well as Skelk Slayer, where I think since we are in the Shiver Peaks and I'm getting a voice crack, let's go ahead and come over towards Wayfarer Foothills. Let's go to Horncall Waypoint to the beginning of the Norn adventures in Teria. There are a bunch of new Norn here starting their adventures in Teria, which is always fun to see. But let's go ahead and find this passage that I'm thinking of in my head, and I need to remember exactly where to go. But I think it's right over here. I'll grab the point of interest really quickly of the Heart of the Raven, and let's sneak around this way, because we have this path right here where we have the Borealis Forest this way, and I think we have to drop down here to get up to it, where we just have some longhorn sheep. And this is a very cool passage, of course, which is one of the ways to get out of the starting area, which is really fun. And I really like this starting zone just because of how many different ways you can exit from it. But we've got some cave spiders up here. Let's mount back up. We also got some tracks here. The ground has been trampled by a large group of hoofed animals, which I think is what I am wanting to look for. Let's go ahead and run through here, and we can see some Minotaurs. We have apparently not fought or have fought too many of them in our adventures throughout Teria, so I think it would be fun just to progress this achievement a tiny bit and kill a few of them as we close out this episode, which of course we are getting very, very close to level 80. So maybe let's get to level 74. That might be a fun little objective for us. And we can kind of see the experience bonus at play here. That we got 156 bonus experience for killing that Minotaur, but if we kill this white Moa really quickly, who people have probably not fought too often, we just got 692 bonus experience because that Moa has been alive for a very long time. Where we have now killed 13 Minotaurs, and in order to get this achievement we have to kill 1,000. And as we progress through Guild Wars 2, we will be able to complete these various Slayer achievements just naturally as we play through the game. But something that I've done and that a lot of people like to do is to just spend some time killing a bunch of certain enemies in order to complete their Slayer achievement, just to, you know, get the achievement points for fun and to just like complete an achievement in a video game, which is something that I always personally find to be very fun. Right, we have some very cool looking crystals right there. Let's go ahead and kill these two, grab this one really quickly. And there is 17 Minotaurs defeated, where we can grab this Vista really quickly just to pad out our experience a tiny bit, I suppose. Where I notice we need to kill 8 Jotun in order to get to the next tier of the Jotun Slayer achievement, which very conveniently for us, there are some Jotun right here alongside some Minotaurs that we can defeat as well. Here's a small group of Jotun for us to defeat, and we have progressed our Slayer achievement, where we just got 5 achievement points for completing this tier of killing 100 of them. Something else that we can be aware of is our Weapon Master achievement, which we can do as we progress through this as well, where we are currently using an axe and we're using a focus or a dagger. We are currently wielding a dagger, and then we also have a dagger and a war horn. So if you look at our achievements for our Weapon Master achievements, we can find the axe one right here, where we have 738 killing blows dealt with an axe, and as we kill this Minotaur with our axe abilities, we can go ahead and progress this to 739. So we could just do both of these achievements at the same exact time. Where there's just a ton of Minotaur around here, so this is a nice spot to come to for this achievement. But of course there are Minotaur all over the world, especially in the Shiver Peaks mostly, where we can just find some different areas that might be nice in order to kill a bunch of them very quickly in order to progress this achievement. And this can also be a way that you level up, because Guild Wars 2 is a very open-ended game and you can gain experience in a ton of different ways. So if you want a new character and you want to get some achievement points, maybe just kill a bunch of Minotaurs to level up towards level 80 and get that achievement along the way. Where we are now level 74 and we can go ahead and pick one of these items. Let's pick a tray of zucchini bread, which we can put down on the ground for players to eat in order to get a special buff. But that is going to do it for us in this episode of my Guild Wars 2 Let's Play series, where I'm very excited to continue progressing through Chapter 7, which we will continue next episode. Where I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember, as always, to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the Road of Tyria. Goodbye.